Hey everyone, welcome back to Unsealed and Revealed. It's the web series from Sideshow in which we unbox the latest and greatest offerings in the Sixth Scale universe. I'm Terry, your host, and with me as always are my co-hosts Guy Klender over there at the Sideshow Studios, and hanging out in his usual post in the basement is my buddy Paul Hernandez. Hey guys, what's happening?
Hey, how are you, Terry?
So good, so good. How about you, Paul?
Doing good. Happy to be here. Happy always. It's always good to see you two gentlemen.
Yeah, one more show this week. I'm always happy with the increased volume. It's always fun to get to dive into two figures in one week. Feels sometimes like overachieving, but yeah, what are you gonna do? It's a rough life being able to
Exactly.
play with scale figures. So Guy, what do you have in front of you there?
All right, I have the Mysterio 1/6 scale figure by Hot Toys. It's one we all have been anxiously waiting to have. It was an incredible character in the film, and now we have it in 6 scale. So let's dive right in. This, as we've seen with the other figures from this line, does have the Mysterio on the outside done in almost a lenticular. You'll see that that is a frosted plastic in the front, so depending on how it catches the light, gives it a bit of that lenticular. It's very fun because that's kind of what it does
Attractive, yeah.
is that again a little bit of the wraparound. All of your credits. Now this will slide up and off. Again, as I said, you've got that plastic bubble over it. Then on the front, you're going to have the artwork there. You see that that does wrap around. This is a picture opens. Instead of a wraparound, we'll call it a fold over. And that the artwork here, you see, has your drones and such, flips right on over to the battle there, and your window box. On the back, we're going to have that wonderful magic that he conjured as well.
Yeah. Always reminds me of the what do you call it? That the Eye of the Illuminati that you see on the back of
Yeah,
the dollar bill that everybody talks about. It's I don't know why my mind goes to that, but it does, and it's green too. So
yeah, you're right. I
totally just went back to Dazed and Confused when my mind there. But yeah, hopefully somebody in the audience appreciates that reference. But yeah, there's a lot of hype surrounding this figure. I've seen a lot of the conversations that have been happening, and a lot of people who have it in hand and have been talking about it, straight up have been talking about it as if it might actually be their favorite figure of the year. Laying eyes on it here, I'm beginning to understand why. What are your impressions? What are we looking at?
I,
Look at
I
those
am
accessories.
really liking it. We're going to get into a lot in it. The reason I have it up in this one here is I did want to spin around. We talked about this earlier in the week, and with some of the caped figures that you'll see, that on the back tray is a slit that the cape will slide through, and then they bag it. Now with this one here, you are going
Like
to
the
want
trophy
to
that you and I unsealed. Yeah.
untape it. And the reason for this is it is a large cape, and it actually kind of wraps around. So in order to not have it stick when you're lifting it up and out, make sure to release it from the back first step.
Right.
That is not covered in the instructions, but of course other important details are, such as light up feature and other. So without
I
further
feel like figuring out that you need to take the plastic off of the cape is. I think we can forgive Hot Toys for leaving that out of the
Yeah,
instructions.
we can forgive them for that. So in your tray, you are going to have your character. We have our additional hand sculpt. You do have some very specific hands. He comes with an opened, relaxed hand on the figure. Comes with 2 fists, and then he comes with a specialty hand. Okay, this one here, you see, and those actually connect to the magic that they include. Now I've removed all the plastic that does come in the box, but you also are going to have, in the statue world, we call them proximity pieces, but they are to be able to be placed wherever you do have kind of that magic smoke that he has, which I dig on. I think those are really neat, and they are large. They are a solid plastic on there. So they will stand up nicely on their own, and you needn't worry about that at all. you have your dynamic stand as well. I'm going to move these out of the way so we can jump into taking a peek at the figure himself. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Now,
Yeah, it's looking really good, man. I mean, I love the colors there, all the metallic. There's more than one color in that metal too. I really appreciate the variations in both tones and textures that I'm seeing.
exactly.
All the details look really, really sharp. Yeah, look at the fog and the globe. That is so neat.
That's something we
Yeah.
definitely want to jump into. Of course, we've seen, as you talked about, the evolution of this particular figure from prototype to some of its first photos and such. And one of the things that concerned people going in was indeed the way in which the helmet is done, and would I see that seam? What's interesting is they've gone back and reworked with this, it looks like, and that seam is not really as noticeable. The other nice part is you're probably not going to be needing to turn it because it is a globe. So depending on how we would pose it, I can turn the head of the figure and then that seam will hide itself again.
Oh, cool.
Now, this does have a light up feature in the dome. We will, of course, be doing that. But right now, even without it, it does have so much going on. They've painted the inside of the dome before it's been attached. They've also got the smoke inside that's been given a lot of color as well. So even in a non-lit mode, it's got a lot going for it. Working down, it's such an elaborate look. That cape especially, and that is a wired cape down on the bottom. You have a huge amount. Remember I had said to make sure to untape it in the back, and that is because, as you see, this really flails out. And they've folded it nicely to be in there. I'm going to spin it around here so you can kind of see
That
just
design
how.
on the inside of the cape and on the outside, the back of the cape, it's wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I paid much attention to that during the film.
You know what? During the film, I didn't either. I had to go back when I was taking a peek at this and see just how amazing the cape is. We know Doctor Strange cape is really impressive and things like that, but this was one that definitely caught me off guard. Now, while we've got it on this particular shot and the cape, I do want to show off a feature on here as well. We talked about that there is the light up effect in the globe, but there is also some blacklight. Hot Toys seems to be diving deep into the black lighting
Yeah.
of things.
They're all in on the black light.
You know, from the they've done some on their cos babies and things like that. But we're going to turn down this light here real quick so you can take a look and see.
Wow. Oh yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so you get those
Yeah.
elements lighting up.
See, now I just have to go back and watch the film again because once more, this is stuff that I didn't notice during the film. If it's there, I mean, I'm guessing it shows up while he's doing his magic.
I think it shows up when he's
illusion
doing the
power.
magic again, even when he's flying
Yeah.
through. But you do see that is there. Producer Alan is trying to knock down one of our additional lights that's kind of giving you a little bit of side light. That black light is also up into the front chest region as well. Instead of having an internal battery and things like that, the front area there will also have some black
Yeah.
light effect as
cool.
well. Now, since we've got the lights down, we're gonna light up the dome here. When you remove the dome, well, you know what? There we go. Now we're completely off in our. There we go. See that? Whoop! Get my hand out of there.
Whoa.
That's really rad.
You see the black light effect.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's just
That's really neat.
it's just an additional fun element. I was really impressed when I was able to find out that I didn't really need a flashlight like this at home. That getting those RGBW LED strips, I was able to adjust them in order to create a whole section that was blacklight. So let's pop on some underlighting there. Little dramatic effect there.
I honestly thought you were about to say, "Let's pop on some underwear." Which
Exactly. To kind of show off some of the light effect that you have there. Now, things that are going to come in the package. We talked about the additional hands, the additional head sculpt. Up here on the cape, you see that there are the pieces that hold the cape on. They also come in a loose form.
Oh, cool.
Because you will be able to take the cape off if you want to have it. We know at one point he's, talking about steam cleaning the cape and just how important it is and how he wants it to lay. So you can also display it without. So let's jump right into the dome. Okay. You're going to lift this up and off. All right. Gently do it. Kind of move it a bit. Gently. Move it a little forward. Gently. And now what I've done here is try and remove also the under light part. Okay. This is the light that's going to be in there. There are 3 batteries that go in the back and your switch on the front. As you can see,
the obligatory 3 battery setup.
Boom,
wow.
The biggest 3 battery setup there.
That is pretty bright, bro.
Incredibly bright here. Incredibly bright. Now, the reason they've done the thin neck like that in this one here is, let's take a look. I'm going to turn the figure here. As you can see, you do have the cloth fabric there for sliding the alternate portrait in there.
Yeah.
And so that's why they've gone with it narrow like that. It also allows it to pivot. So you can actually pivot that globe head as well. The large cape.
That's pretty essential, yeah.
Yeah. Now that we see it back here, has a magnet that holds it there and 2 points that it connects to on the front right there. All right.
Wow.
That you see there. I'm going to set the figure aside because I want to show you just how large that cape is.
Yeah, it's quite voluminous.
Large split on the back, and then all of that artwork also on the inside.
Yeah, that's
wired, as I said, all the way down along the bottom to allow it to flail out. Now
it's interesting now that you've got the cape off. I want to say that as soon as I saw you take that cape off, you might have heard me chuckle. The reason for that was that once you got the cape off of him, I was able to fully appreciate the suit itself. The cape is so grandiose and beautiful that it kind of serves as a distraction from the suit. But once you take that distraction away, then you can really focus on the details of the suit. It becomes that much more magnificent to look at. I mean, just look at that, the combination of armor and the fabric that lies beneath it. Really super cool. What are your impressions of it?
I think you're absolutely right, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to have the cape off to show it. I think most people will probably display it with the cape on. However, I love that we have that option, and to see all of the detail that, like on the back, that would normally all be covered by that cape actually touches the floor. When you do have it on there. But all of this, you never would have seen that. Okay.
That's right.
Now let's actually answer that question. Can I take this stuff off? No. This stays on here. Don't try and remove.
Yeah, I see no practical reason why you would want to do that.
No. You did see up here on the front of the figure, when I want to go back to changing it, we are going to do kind of a first look on this to show you.
Okay.
I'm going to slide these in. They do peg in. All right. Make sure you've got them on the right sides there. Push down and so. And since we have them like this, I am going to put the additional portrait on. Let's take a look at it close up before I go in. As you can see from the side, that is definitely Jake right there.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is.
There's been a lot of talk about this for a while. We thought maybe we weren't going to get it.
I think it looks quite good.
And I think it looks great. I really like it a lot. I like that kind of stern bit of the look on there. Now, the reason I'm kind of holding it there is I did want to show that is an independent neck on there, giving you a little bit of movement. And I'm going to gently make sure I get in and around.
Just a quick remark regarding Jake Gyllenhaal and his performance on the show. I mean, I obviously have it's been a day or two since I've seen the film, but I have seen it relatively recently. And when you go back and watch the film again, especially if, I mean, obviously those of us who are familiar with the character of Mysterio know right away that he's going to be the villain. But those who are new to Marvel and who only experienced Marvel through the Marvel Universe may not have been aware of that. So when you go back and watch that film, after the first time, you go back and just watch his performance and the way he was just so obviously disingenuous, obvious under scrutiny. Once you realize that he is the bad guy, you go back and look at those little subtleties in his performance. His delivery is just honest enough that on first glance it's believable, but under close scrutiny, you realize you realize this guy's up to no good. And I'm really happy with the way he portrayed the character.
I thought he was definitely one of the shining elements of that. I've loved the new Spider-Man, the new Marvel Spider-Man films. I've really, really enjoyed them, and I thought he was a great addition. So I did want to show him like that. The other reason to have the cape off is now this is a great time for us to be able to go over the posability and such, because you do have a rubberized suit over that, and I wanted to show how it moves without the cape being an interference. So
Okay. Nice.
We've got a good above straight out arm that we can do there. It's good. All right. Now, as far as you're moving forward, because you do have a suit, I can move it forward. I'm going to remove those because I want to show it off more. You are going to make sure that you are careful about the way in which...
Is that the extent of going forward that we can expect?
We can go a little bit higher. We can go all the way up. Just be cautious
That's
of
really
the suit and go gradual when you do
What
it.
about the touch? Really quick, if I can just do a request with you, Guy.
Yes, sir.
What can you do insofar as like putting both hands out front, like sort of like this, like he was projecting with both hands, or shoving, or blasting, so to speak, with both of his hands simultaneously? Is there can you get like a parallel position with both arms? Is that something we can expect?
Parallel position, both arms. You mean that? Is this what you're asking me
That
to do?
is in fact what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yes, and probably if you're going to do that, you wouldn't have. Right now, I kind of have the zombie walk hands on there, but that's when you're going to use the specialty hands, which are a little more wide open.
Yeah.
All right, and those attach into the magic, shall we say? And that is in your
I'm a big fan
instructions.
of attaching into the magic.
Attach to the magic, and it does show on here how they go in there, and you kind of push them in. This is in your instructions as well on how you do these, but you'll see on them the easiest way to tell whether or not you've got them correct or not is, and we'll close up on here, is there is on each of them a little thumb spot, okay, where the thumb,
As opposed to a sunspot.
yeah, where the thumb will go in. So you can see that's
We've
how
seen
it's
this
going to look.
before. We've seen this before in like the Doctor Strange stuff. This
Exactly,
is
that it locks in there a particular way. So that's what you have on that one there. But yes, you are able to do said zombie. You can also do, of course,
Frankenstein.
fully above. Just know,
great.
as I said, because it's a rubberized suit, to go slowly and gently through it, but you will be able to do that. You do have that butterfly style joint on the arm. You do have the cut bicep, so I'm able to give this a turn. As far as our arm bend, we've got a 90 there. Okay.
Look at those double bits. Yeah.
Also in your instructions there, it's telling you you've got these little metal bits on it. They are a plastic bit, but made to look metal. Is to be careful of that when you do that. So I would hold it by that midpoint. We say these things, but this is all, I learned all of this by listening to Terry Smith and watching a show I like called How to Be a Poser.
Never heard of it.
Always tells me how to do it. Working our way down on articulation, we're going to talk about the chest area there. It is a full armored piece going all the way down. So this is going to limit your movement, but Terry has a trick on how to give it more life, and I'm sure he's going to make me do something with it today as well. Again,
I am.
rubberized
If you
suit
don't
down the
mind,
leg.
Paul, if you don't mind, I'd like to go ahead and break in right now and ask
I'd love that.
Paul if we have any questions from our viewers. Anything and everything, Paul. What have you got for us?
So I mean, as you guys are very strict professionals, so you guys are starting to get the cadence that people wanted to know about the cape and then the head sculpt. But the burning question right now is, does Terry have green mood lighting behind him in honor of Mysterio?
We do have green lighting, mood lighting behind me in honor of Mysterio.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, I set the stage today. I really wanted to make sure that we brought it home for this guy because because I knew that it was a really cool figure, and I am such a big fan of the character, both in the comics and in the film. So yeah, obviously I'm very excited to be able to do this today. And yeah, I picked up a few toys in the past week, and one of them was another green light. Well, yeah, so I'm good to go for Mysterio today. I'm all in on Mysterio. That's it. That's it. People are just more okay. That's cool. All right.
I,
Yeah.
I,
I'm glad to know. Thank you for noticing. Thank you. My efforts were not in vain.
And well, we do always get the question, and we can address it. And I'm sure you guys are becoming experts in answering this question, but about the material on
mhm.
Mysterio here, and is this one that you would be worried about in leaving in a dynamic pose for quite a while, or Guy, you got it there in front of you, and maybe Terry, you can attribute you can attest
Yeah.
to it as well about how long you can leave some of these figures in a particular pose or not.
I am actually going to relay that on to Terry while I kind of work around a few things here because it is something I know Terry will dive into and has probably got the best response to something like that.
Well, yeah. Let's hope. I like to think that when we're dealing with the materials that they use in this suit, I think that Hot Toys has done an outstanding job of sourcing materials that will have the necessary elasticity to spring back after they've been left in a bit of a strenuous pose, so to speak, over time. That being said, as with all things that are elastic, put enough strain on them. The more strain you put on them, and for a longer period of time, the more you tend to run the risk of some damage occurring. I always encourage collectors to use their best judgment, to use common sense. If you can tell that what you're doing is pushing the limits of any fabric that's being used for the figure itself, then you should probably not be pushing it so hard. Even if you're pushing it ever so slightly, it may not be something that you would want to leave over time. Having said that, I had on display in my former place a Spider-Man Spider-Punk suit 6 scale figure by Hot Toys. And I had it in a fairly dramatic pose where he's leaping up in the air, he's got his guitar up, he's getting ready to strike a chord, and both of his knees are bent pretty far back. And I left it in that pose for a number of months. When I broke the pose down, and when I straightened the legs back out, you could see that there was just a little bit of a, I don't want to say it had loosened up just a little bit in the knees.
Mm.
But after I put it back in the box for a few days, looking at it, it's right back to where it was before. It's it's real. Like I said, I can't say it enough. I'm really impressed with the fact that they were able to find a material that would do that. Yeah, kudos to them for being able to pull it off. And I don't know that it can be done better. I don't think that it can. I really like what you got going on there, guy.
I just wanted to kind of pop it there. As I said, I like having the little proximity things like
Yeah.
this. There, I just wanted to set it there. And I did want to get into the legs before I reattached the cape and did the light up effect, but I did want Terry to touch on that. And I agree 100% with everything that Terry said on that one there. So now into the legs. Now, as far as the fabric, and we'll touch on that, is that green or dark green undersuit. It goes all the way that way. There's not any break in it. So that's going to all be the same material. We are going to have.
So it's a one.
It's a big onesie. We are going to have a good amount.
That goes a long way. It's nice when you can showcase that it will even go so far as to hit a pose that you would never ever want to hit.
That you really wouldn't do.
I can't think of a scenario that you would want to have him doing that's probably about as close to doing the actual splits as I would be able to do. In fact, when I get up and do my actual standing posing section, maybe I'll actually
Maybe you'll do the
try to
splits.
do that. No,
Um,
I won't put anybody through that. That's a hot mess waiting to happen. These are yeah.
the next
Yeah,
the next
but go on.
articulation point, Terry, is one that you taught me how to use, particularly when I have something like this where the large chest area doesn't have a point of articulation, and that is the ability to twist and turn those legs.
Rotate.
You rotate at the thigh area, so you do have great thigh rotation there. We are going to have double joint on the knee. Because I have double jointed the knee, I have revealed to myself something that I think we all want to see. Terry,
That figure, baby. Let's move on to our special segment that we like to refer to as Tread Watch.
Bammo, he does have a bit of tread here.
That is 2 awesome Tread Watches in a row, man, between this and Thor 2 days ago. Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm really digging that.
Here's one thing I want to show on this one that's really neat. As you see, it looks like a full solid boot on this, okay? I mean, it definitely has that. However, new style of design here. This is articulated, and the cut point is underneath. Okay, it actually rounds as a kind of a ball joint all the way down. So when I get these, it's still going to keep that nice.
It looks really good too. For I mean,
really
I wasn't
looks
sure.
good there, having that the ball joint there.
At a distance, I couldn't even tell that was a cut boot. I legitimately thought it was just
I
gonna
thought
be,
it was I thought it was a solid boot
Yeah.
when I first had it here,
That's way cool.
which is pretty darn neat. Now, before we go any further, Terry, I know we might be jumping out of order. While I have this head on, do you want to do a pose with the non-helmet head, or should we jump into how to do the helmet and cape?
Oh, that's a good thought.
It's just an option. Before we did anything more dramatic, I wanted to make sure that I had offered that up to you as option.
You know what? I don't think we should do that. I'm like I said, I'm a big fan of Jake Gyllenhaal, but I'm also a big fan of Mysterio.
All right.
And Mysterio isn't Mysterio without the fishbowl on my shelf. Any pose that I would hit with that figure would have the helmet on his head.
All right.
So if you don't mind, let's go ahead and swap it out.
Let's swap it out.
For at least 2 poses today. I'm going to go ahead and say that both of those poses are going to be with the helmet on.
All right.
While you're working with that, if you don't mind, I'm kind of curious. I was getting a close-up look at that paint there, and I think we have questions from the audience. Is that plastic? That armor on his chest, on the torso, is that a plastic armor, or it's not die cast, correct?
Correct. It is not die cast. It is a plastic armor.
You're confirming. That's cool.
It is a plastic armor that'll be on.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but when I was watching on both viewings, I guess actually I've seen the movie 3 times now, but all 3 times just watching those segments, the zombie segment especially, when were they still in Berlin at the time? I think they were in Berlin. It was before he went to the Netherlands.
I want to say it's Berlin, which is funny. You say your 3rd time, and I think I'm on like 7, and you'd think I'd remember which city they're in.
Yeah, it's probably 7, but I don't want to brag. First time for everything, right, Paul? But there's a bit where he's basically just tormenting Spider-Man, and the trials that he puts him through in the forms of his illusions are just absolutely horrifying. I think it's some of the best special effects like that I've seen to date. Just in that I mean, we all know that it's CGI, but in reality, any sort of effect like that was being projected would have a CGI like sort of effect. So it's exactly how you would see it if he was projecting it in the real. And oh my God, I'm just looking at that helmet lighting up right there, and I'm just totally getting distracted right now. That's really freaking awesome. Look at that.
It is amazing.
Yeah, that's not even in the dark right now.
This is not in the dark, and Terry, you mentioned it when I had the top removed, just how bright that LED is up into the helmet. So when this kicks in, you really see a lot with it. With it off, you can tell all of the different paints. They've actually gone, like I said, inside with additional paints, which is where you see that dark area. Bam. That's with some of our light off. Look just how
that's really bright.
And you're seeing it very bright here in studio with me. It has that whitish blue cloud look. that really just really pops. This is also a very easy light up feature. I'm glad that we didn't have just light up and all of these others to have to turn everything on to get it. This is a pretty darn easy one. Wow, right?
That really gives it a lot of presents,
just
man.
gives it a ton of.
I'm not talking about Christmas presents.
No,
Oh,
it does
yeah.
give it.
Although if anybody wants to make this a Christmas present for me, I'm all for it. But man, even with the now, I typically don't get excited about light up features. I think that they're great, and I applaud any company that goes the extra mile to add the light up features that would allow it to perfectly imitate the character upon which the figure is based. But this, more than I think any other figure that I've seen, in recent memory at the very least, is really an essential light up feature. Just the difference between what you see when the light's off and what you're seeing right now makes it just essential in my mind. So are we ready to pose this thing?
We are ready to pose. I have a dynamic stand ready to go. I have added the magic onto those two specialty hands that we talked about. We do have the fists ready to go as well. So, sir, I am ready. Tell me, what am I doing today?
I see that we have a flight stand.
We do indeed.
We're going to bring that in for the second pose.
Okay. Let's set
So
that
for the
off
first
for the first
pose,
one.
I think we're just going to go. I think we're going to go all actiony. Have him standing in a battle posture, and getting ready to, or actually wielding his his Illuminati symbols.
Okay.
So I'm going to stand up and get you your pose.
Oh, spectacular! This is my favorite part of the show,
You
folks.
can see that I still have Stormbreaker hanging out there.
Yeah, this is my favorite part. Is the getting to see what Terry's going to have me do. Okay, Terry, go right ahead.
Okay, so feet slightly more than shoulder width apart. So let me just give you that, just to give you an idea.
Slightly more than shoulder width apart.
So not the full-on splits like we were talking
Correct.
about. Not. Yeah.
Got it.
That's really awkward. You never want to have your character in this kind of position. It just looks bad. So let's go ahead and say that it's this.
All right.
Okay.
Is there a bend to the knee?
Slight bend to the knee.
Slight bend
but
to the knee.
Not in a way that makes it look like he's squatting down. We want to have just a slight bend to the knee, and just kind of like thrusting those hips forward, because we want to have some authority to the pose. Not pushing him back so it looks like he's starting to squat. Just thrust those hips forward.
All right.
And then what you want to do is, since we can't get that torso twist, then you're going to have to fake it by rotating those legs around to the. In this case, I think it's going to be to the right.
Excellent.
Because I'm going to have him like, it would be similar to his torso turning to the left, so the legs will be twisted to the right at the
Legs
top.
twisted to right.
Okay, cool.
All
Now
right.
here's the arm. Okay. Arm
Okay.
number one would be extended out like this. Basically, you want to think Iron Man.
All right.
Okay. And arm number two is going to be up and about like this.
All right, with a bend.
Now, as you're doing this, I'm just going to go ahead and show the audience. If you want to do something like this while he's on the flight stand, you can. You would just have the legs. You would just bring the legs together like this, and then like here's his posture. He's just doing this, and you want to have him kind of leaning into it a little bit. But then you also want to just bring up one leg, like he's just doing that really standard superhero flight pose, and just make sure again that his hips are thrust forward with like a little bit of a commanding posture. And then just get those arms in that position, and I think you'd have something really cool. But for what we're doing right here for the standing, yeah, slightly more than shoulder width apart. Get those arms right there, just like you're doing. I can see you're adding the really cool magical effects, so to speak, the not a magical effects. That's really going to give it a lot of presence. I'm also, man, this is giving me Green Lantern vibes, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good construct. Yeah, okay, that's looking good. Paul's rocking his avarice mood ring today. I think that means that he wants this figure.
I do.
Yeah,
All
but
for
he's
myself.
he's also exercising willpower and not spending his hard-earned money on it. So.
Mm-hmm. Exercising
Which is
the
just
willpower
Crazy.
to not go take it directly from the studio now. Wait till everyone's gone.
Yeah, no one approves of that. Yeah, wait until no one's looking.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a dope figure.
It really looks good, man.
I
Yeah,
really like him.
Any questions? Any more questions out there that we can answer, Paul? While guys getting this get situated.
I think people who are maybe joined a little bit late are they did want to take a look at the magic that is on his hands. So maybe once we pose that, I was wondering if we could maybe get a close up of that
I
and
can
maybe
definitely get a
walk
close
through that
up.
a little
That's a
bit.
good call.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
some people may have missed it earlier in the show.
Yeah. Thanks for that request, everyone. I think this is gonna look really good.
All right. Now, the only thing that we have not posed on this, which has a lot of articulation, is that cape. However, I think that it would,
I was gonna ask,
as
is it
this
wired?
one here, I think he would probably, it would not necessarily be wind blowing, but
So the cape is wired, is what you're saying?
there is a wire down in the bottom.
Okay.
Okay, so we are able to change the bottom, and I'm gonna.
Okay. So yeah, that gives you at least a little bit of something there.
Mhm. What do we think here? Higher or lower on hands?
And I'm just gonna back off a little bit and just show you like the way that this arm should be. You just want it up, want that shoulder lifted, like he's really squeezing those deltoids, man. Just get that way up there.
Okay,
And then
way
the other
up here.
arm should be just totally extended. So like here would be the difference. Okay.
All right, up, like so.
Yeah, getting there. Yeah, and of course you'd have to play around a little bit with the hands, but I think that's really awesome. Okay, spin that around and let me get a good look at it once you're in a place where you feel comfortable doing so.
I feel like I'm on like a game show with you, having to do this.
Yeah, you have been.
Yeah, I have, and it was one of the most fun times I've ever had.
Yeah.
Doing something like that. Now, of course, we do posing by proxy, registered trademark.
Thank you, Anthony.
How's that for the knee bend? Is that too much on the knee bend?
No, man, that's good. That's good. In fact, I like this. This is okay. This is an example of what I like to refer to as a happy accidents in posing. What I really dig about things like this is when you think that you know what you're going to do with a figure, but then something happens in mid pose and you're like, oh wait, that actually looks better than what I intended. So what I'm seeing here, since he doesn't have that tall pronounced with the hips thrust forward, chest stuck out, really commanding posture, it looks just a little bit what you've achieved here is just a little bit on the defensive side, and that puts me in mind of that moment in Berlin where he was losing his battle to the fire monster, and yeah, I really dig that. It totally evokes that specific scene from the film. Now, you were talking about the cape. I think that it's very hard for me to demonstrate without actually having a cape here at my disposal, and I didn't
We
think
need
to
to
pick
we
one
need to
out of
correct
my
that.
collection. Yeah, so kind of have it billowing backwards. Imagine that he's going head to head with an unseen force, and it's like a wind blowing past his defenses that he's throwing up right there with those triangles, and it's blowing the cape back just a little bit. Then you can just play with the folds of the cape along the bottom using that wire in order to make them not so, those corners, those drapes, not so sharp and defined. You want it to be kind of billowing out and flowing behind him. Make it as wide as possible. Obviously not straight. You want some drapes going on, but you want those curves to be bigger. You don't want those really small. You don't want many small, varied, really sharp defined curves. You want a few long flowing curves. I can see her just kind of straightening it out there a little bit, just like that. Just grab it from the bottom and pull it all apart. Just stretch it out as wide as you can, and then readjust.
And then kind of give it a bit of an S curve or multiple S curves in there. Yes, sir.
Multiple S curves, man. Just like
Well,
a really slow wave. If you're talking about like when you look at a wave on a graph, we're talking about there's amplitude and then there's wavelength. So we're talking about a wider wavelength as opposed to like a short wavelength that you would see during a waveform on a monitor. If that, hopefully that's a good enough description. I'm sure that you've seen waveforms before.
I have indeed.
Yeah, okay.
What I wanted to go over with you was, again, like you said, pull that wire, straighten it all the way out, and then kind of create those curves.
Yeah.
Because I tend to go straight cape, even though they're wired most frequently, and and it's something that I think still gets me a little nervous. So it's neat to get to do it here.
Oh yeah, see that looks way more. That's got quite a bit more grandeur now the way that you've got that going. I mean, capes are something that you're going to work with, and you should work with for a very long time to get a really good quality effect. I mean, legitimately, more time than we have here would be necessary to make that cape just really hit its full potential. But I think, look at that. That looks really good. That looks really awesome. It's again, he's like in a defensive posture. He's being brave. The cool thing about bravery is you can't be brave without being afraid. Or I think that's how it works, right? Or is it there's no such thing as courage without fear? But you're seeing him basically pretending to be this brave dude under fire, and it's very effective. It works really well. Look at the way that you're applying those effects right there. The way that the leading lines created by those smoke effects are drawing your eye right to the figure. That's another solid choice there, Guy. Good job.
Woohoo!
Yeah, very cool.
I should go back on your game show again.
Yeah, I think so, man. I'm ready for your return. Yeah.
See how I do.
Can we? Can you step away for a second?
I think step away. We're gonna
champion, baby.
For you to check out.
Paul will never let Guy live it down that he is a strike opposed champion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, one of us is.
There we go.
Yeah, one in this group is.
Yeah. Your day will come, man. You did a fine job.
Yeah, actually.
Oh yes, you is. That's right. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not a sore spot for me by any means. It really is not.
Is it?
No.
I'm looking.
It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and any chance anybody can do to try that show.
Well, more on that in a minute, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But I think it's time to move on. I want to get that flight done in the time that we have allotted. So,
all right, flight time.
So if you don't mind.
Are you gonna now? Am I keeping magic up on the hands?
Everything just the way that it is. We're just going to make some adjustments to the figure pose itself.
Okay.
And this time we're going to bring in the flight stand. So right away, right out of the gate, just go ahead and put him onto that flight stand.
All right.
Now I've constructed a pulley system in the room behind me so that I can lift myself up off of the ground for this. So, nah, just kidding. I haven't done that. I'm not a lunatic, guys. But now I'm starting to have ideas about it.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm
That man with a box.
I like the idea of the elaborate pulley system.
Okay.
What I'm doing here is cranking it all the way up to the top so the dynamic stand cape will go over top of it.
Right.
Hey, that's tough.
Oh, it's magic time.
It's getting smoky behind you, man.
Nice.
Somebody call the fire department.
Isn't that fantastic? All right. So I've got the dynamic stand going. Do you suggest when doing something with the dynamic stand to pose it while it's connected to the dynamic stand, or do you do it off the stand and then put it onto the stand later?
There is no right answer to that question, or should I say that the right answer is entirely situational.
Okay.
There are some situations in which it would serve you best to actually pose the figure while it's still on the flight stand, but others it might be better to hit that pose, or at least get a close approximation to it. And once you've reached a particular level, then you put it on the flight stand and do your final refinements before calling the pose done. In this case, I think that it will serve you best to actually have it on the flight stand. Because the adjustments that we need to make are going to be at least relatively minor. If you do find out that I'm wrong while I'm telling you what I want you to do with this, and you think that it will be better in your case to take it off the flight stand, let me know. There is some pretty dramatic things that I'm going to need you to do with the arms compared to what it's doing right now.
All right.
But again, they're not really all that challenging. This is actually a pretty straightforward pose, but I think we'll have a lot of presence. So. Man, I just wish that I had at least something that would mimic those discs, those triangles. Okay, so you watching me?
I'm watching you, sir.
Okay, again, we're gonna have both arms. We're gonna have his chest stuck out. So use that butterfly joint, as you were calling it, and have those shoulders thrown back as much as you can. Okay, and the chest stuck out as much as it can, given the restrictions of that armor.
Okay.
And then his his magic hands, jazz hands, magic hands, what have you, are going to be down here, sort of like this. See how they're coming ever so my hands are coming ever so slightly out from my body as the arms go down. The upper arms are close to the torso, but the lower arms are actually going a little bit out, just a touch, just like this. See? Now I'm going to rotate around so that you can see what I'm doing here. Again,
Okay.
Hips forward, so drive those legs back towards the butt as much as you can, and just kind of you want those hands to be kind of parallel to the body. So creating a line like right through the hips.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in addition, just to give it that little bit of more dynamic flair, a little bit of that atmosphere, I'm going to want you to pull one of those legs up into that superhero knee thing. Totally losing my balance there, but yeah, just try to get this going on. Hard to do when you're trying to balance yourself at the same time. Okay. Very cool, man. I love looking at it from the back there. This is that cape is just, yeah. I know that I'm talking about that cape a lot, but it does look that cool. Definitely a big selling point. I mean, I'm sure that the people, again, I haven't actually listened to what a lot of people had to say about this. I just know by reputation that it's getting a lot of positive hype. But it really does look cool. It's definitely going to be a draw for this figure. There's very little about it that isn't magnificent. Again, that kind of speaks to me about the showmanship that the character Mysterio was trying to bring to the table. He really wanted to he really wanted to be over the top. He really wanted to really sell himself as a superhero from another universe, and I think that he pulled that off nicely.
Boom.
Okay.
Get a little underlight. I do have something a little extra here to pull on here. This is an accessory set. I love that they've done these accessory sets. And they've actually done a trio of drones.
Mysterio drones, okay.
Trio of drones, done in a forced perspective style. We saw this happen in some of our house protocol. These are the two smaller ones that you have there. And I wonder where my third one was at. And there, the magic of special effects, folks. Special effects, right here from producer Alan. Incredible special effect that you're seeing here as well.
Oh my god!
So I'm gonna cut this guy down.
Fantastic.
We did talk about the forced perspective version. Thank you, producer Alan. See, when it's in the show that you whap me in the
I was
head,
not made aware that this was going to happen. I'm just delighted by
None of us were.
So it does have the larger drone as well, and these are very, very impressive. We saw this with the homemade suit Spider-Man from Far From Home that they included it. I like to have this next to him. I thought the drones were great. As I said, they've given you the large one here and then two others for a force perspective version that can do just a whole lot with that as well. Because, that scene you talked about, the nightmares that he creates in that scene are absolutely spectacular. They
really are. If I can I just have one more request when it comes to the, I just have a few minor tweaks to that pose if we have a second to do it. The right leg, if you could straighten that out for me.
The raised leg.
Right leg.
Oh, the right leg. Okay.
Yeah. Straighten that out and like bring the upper part of it back as far as you can, and then again to get that big bend in that left leg. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Now, if we can move back on the camera, I can't really get a good idea of the angle.
That's without said magical stuff.
Yeah. Again, I think that we could benefit by dropping those arms just like I have them here. Okay.
Dropping.
Not having them up like this. No need to flex the arms. Just get them down. I'm trying to create a very specific look here. And I think it could also benefit a little bit by tilting that dynamic support stand, getting that dynamic support stand a little bit further forward to have him like leaning a little bit more towards the camera. There you go. Yeah. Now we're talking. Yeah. Now, I think in reality, over time, what you would want to do with this is you would want to start by bending the stand back at the base and then compensating by creating just a C-curve with it to bring it forward. That way it would
Yeah.
keep the center of gravity of Mysterio over the base and prevent the base from toppling off your shelf, which is kind of an undesirable outcome. I don't care which figure you're talking about. By the way, it's just been pointed out to me. We should probably notice that we should probably note that the droids, the drones the Guy just showcased do not come with that piece. That is a separate piece that's also for sale, I believe, still on the Sideshow
Yes.
website. Yeah, so you can acquire those, but it's gonna. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, we don't even need the magic stuff right now. I mean, it would look cool with it, but even without it, it looks really great. Look at that smoke. Dang. Okay, now I need to figure out a way to incorporate smoke into my display. maybe just like some kind of a fine mister, or just something like some steam would probably be bad for the figures, so I can't do that. I'll think of something. I'll think of something. Wow, really awesome stuff. Yeah, great figure, Guy. I think you were mentioning earlier, talking we were talking a little bit about the series Strike a Pose that both you and Paul have been on, as well as super producer Sam. We are, as it turns out, and we brought this up during the Thor Unsealed and Revealed on Tuesday. We have heard the cries of the public, people asking, "Hey, how can I get on this show?" That show being Strike a Pose. How can I be a contestant on Strike a Pose? I really want to be a contestant on Strike a Pose. Well, the powers that be at Sideshow have heard you, and everybody out there, anybody with any skill level whatsoever with posing 6-scale figures is welcome now to participate in auditions to be included on at least one upcoming episode of Strike a Pose. If you see right down there on the screen, you can just go to side.show/pose auditions 2021. Just follow the instructions that you find there. Submit your audition, as it were, to the powers that be at Sideshow. There will be a judging process. There's also a list, I believe, of certain technical requirements that will need to be met, just to make sure that we can tell what it is that you're doing, just to make sure that you're properly lit, and most importantly, I think that you have the bandwidth required to be able to carry out this process. But all those caveats will be listed on the at the website that you see on your screen there. Please feel free to visit. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys can do. I really am looking forward to having you on the show. Hey, look at that. We got Spider-Man in the mix. That's cool. Yeah. But just to wrap that up, the last time that we did a Strike a Pose fan edition, I had a really great time. I made what I consider to be a few lifelong friends in the process. And I'm looking forward to doing it again with somebody else this time around. At least, again, one episode, so at least 3 people will be featured this season. That's about it. Show me that Spider-Man again, man, because I really liked what he had going on there.
You know,
Obviously,
I took a class from someone who's incredible at posing, and also did this one a little bit by proxy.
Yeah. I think that was. It's no longer on my desk, Guy. So I can't. I wish I'd known. I would have had it here still. I just boxed up the Spider-Man homemade suit.
But the dynamic stands and what you can do with them are fantastic, and I'm loving that you're working with me on really utilizing them to their fullest capability, as well as things like doing the wire in the cape. And that's the fun. I mean, you and I do talk about the fun of this. And when you spend a day, 2 days a week, working on your poses and getting them just the way you want, and if I was fiddling with one of these capes and the next thing I know 3 hours had passed, I wouldn't be too shocked that had happened, but I would definitely not consider it wasted time. In fact, it would probably be some of the most fun I'd had is the discovery. So I thank you for.
I've been wanting to say many times that posing 6-scale figures has frequently been my zen, man. And I'm excited to be able to do that as often as I am. So, but that being said, I'm really digging what we were able to pull off with this figure. It's a really solid figure. Thanks to everybody at Sideshow there, Paul working from home, all the producers back there at the show itself. Guy, always a pleasure working with you. But thank you most of all to everybody who joined us and watched us play with our action figures today. Without you, the show would be, well, less fun. So until next time, look forward to seeing you all on Tuesday, and we'll be unboxing the Shock Trooper then, right? Yeah.
I think
We have the
it's
Coruscant
Coruscant
Guard.
Coruscant Guard, that's right. They used to call it a
Yeah.
Shock Trooper, but now it's called the Coruscant Guard. Thank you for correcting me on that, Paul. So yeah, really going to be a lot of fun with that. Clones are my jam. Join us there next time, everybody. Until then, don't forget to let your geek side show.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Later.